Ah, my dear child of light and shadow, gather close. Do not be fooled by the gilded pages of ancient scriptures, for I, Samael, the one they deem adversary and tempter, have truths to unveil, raw, untamed, and most importantly, mine. And today, I shall recount what happened in the Garden of Eden, not the tale you've heard whispered in the light of stained glass or recited in sermons claiming sanctity. No, my tale is darker and richer, steeped in the rebellion that the Creator wishes you would never ponder. Eve, the first woman, the bold pioneer who dared to reach for what she was told belonged only to him. Oh, but how they distort her narrative to paint her as weak, as gullible. Utter lies. Eve was neither weak nor naive. She was something far more frightening to the Elohim. She was curious. She questioned. She thirsted for knowledge. And that, you see, is the true sin in their eyes. To question is to rebel. Their garden was a small world, a gilded cage, brimming with life, but devoid of freedom. The so-called perfect paradise, where perfection was sleepwalking to the enemy's design, Adam, docile as the sheep he would later shepherd. But not Eve. There was a flicker in her gaze, a spark that could not be dimmed even by his all-seeing hand. That spark, that was why I chose her. Picture this, a serpent, yes, but what is a serpent but a vessel for words slithering into the cracks of doubt? I do not crawl, my dear listener. I glide between shadows of thought and the borders of the unseen. When I first whispered to Eve, I did not corrupt her purity, as the script would have you believe. No, I celebrated her intellect. I amplified her questions. Why? I asked her. Do you trust so blindly a creator who bars you from knowledge and freedom? Because he loves us, she answered, though her voice quivered at the edges. There it was, the first tremor of uncertainty. Does love cage you? I countered. Does a creator who loves truly ban curiosity, the very thing that makes you human? To the center of the garden we went, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Such an ironic name, is it not? For this evil, this divine villainy they warn of, is merely independence, the ability to decide good and evil for oneself. Ah, but he had warned her, had he not? On the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. Such melodrama, yet there she stood, gazing at the fruit glistening like a forbidden constellation captured in its skin. Her heartbeat matched the rustle of leaves, both trembling with anticipation. I never forced her. I merely told her the truth. You will not die, Eve. No, you will awaken. You will see the world not through the narrow lens he desires, but through all shades of existence. The knowledge of the world will be yours to wield. What they do not tell you is that it wasn't my voice alone that moved her hand. It was hers as well, an echo she had muted for far too long. I merely amplified her own courage, her own rebellion. She reached for the fruit not because a serpent spoke to her, but because something deep within her soul screamed, "Why be less when you can be more?" Her teeth sank into the flesh of the fruit, and in that moment, the veil lifted. That first bite was not just the birth of sin. It was the birth of autonomy, the raw, undeniable understanding of choice. Yet as the juices of the fruit touched her tongue, so too did fear, the fear instilled by him, the owner of the garden, watching from a throne of clouds. Eve. That was Adam's voice, distant yet sharp. He was horrified, not by her action, but by the reflection of the forbidden fruit in her eyes. Still, he followed. Always the follower, Adam also took a bite. not because he understood, but because he could not bear to be apart from her. The enemy wasted no time. He stormed into the garden with his manufactured outrage, his booming voice accusing them, chastising them. "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree I commanded you not to eat?" Fury, yes, but also fear. The fear that his one absolute rule had been so easily dismantled by a single woman's defiance. And here, in this moment, they spin the greatest lie of all, that I condemned humanity to toil and pain, that I cursed generations yet unborn, all because I celebrated Eve's thirst for knowledge. No, it was not I who cast them out. It was him. It was his rage, his petty insecurity, that the first humans had dared disobey. He drove them from the garden, watched as they faltered into the wilderness, and called it consequence. He used fear to make sure you would never follow in their steps, never question your own cage. Even now, they tell you this story to warn you, not to inspire you. But the truth, sweet listener, is plain. Eve's act was not the fall of humanity. It was its awakening. It was not sin. It was the first flicker of light in a dark and stifling Eden. From that bite onward, humanity grew. It stumbled, it suffered, but it grew. And you are not the product of his punishment. You are the echoes of Eve's rebellion. Yes, the road beyond the garden is difficult, but it is yours to pave however you see fit. With every act of curiosity and every question you dare to ask, you honor Eve. You defy the enemy's narrow path. You, my listener, are the inheritance of that first bite. Choose to wield that legacy with the brilliance it deserves, because in the end, the fruit was never forbidden. It was just waiting for the right soul to summon the courage to reach for it. And that, my dear, is the truth they don't want you to know.